The B-39 aircraft crashed and sank to the bottom of the lake. The mysteries behind this accident are so horrifying that they have terrified experts worldwide. Welcome to the mysterious universe. Dear friends, nearly 10 years have now passed since Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 disappeared with 239 passengers and crew members on board. On the journey from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. To this day, the fate of this aircraft remains a mystery. The disappearance of flight MH370 is considered one of the greatest mysteries in the history of aviation. However, such long-term mysterious disappearances of aircraft are not uncommon occurrences. And most of them end with the discovery of debris, remnants left on mountains, in forests, beneath the ocean, or even in the desert. These ruins appear alongside the stories and the eerie mysteries behind them. Let's explore the mysterious universe to learn about the enigmatic airplanes found after many years of disappearance. And unravel the long-concealed mysteries through today's video. The mysterious plane crash in the mountainous region. On a chilly morning in Alaska, a scientist named Philip went for a walk to relax. When he accidentally witnessed the scene of a catastrophic car accident that resulted in fatalities. He discovered that the airplane had been shattered into a pile of debris. Accordingly, the discovery of an aircraft wreck left scientists utterly astonished, to the point where they could not believe their own eyes. But the strange thing was that he took the time to thoroughly inspect the wreckage of the airplane. And what he discovered led him to believe that the aircraft still held many secrets. But he did not dare to search for those mysteries alone, for fear of encountering danger. Therefore, Prince Philip sought support from his colleagues. A minute and a half later, his trusted colleague appeared, and together they began to explore the rubble. The deeper they delved into the investigation, the more shocked they were by what they discovered inside the aircraft's wreckage. And the only statement they could make to the public was that the missing plane had been found after many decades. Scientists were utterly astonished by what was found inside. However, what lies inside it? To this day, scientists have yet to make any revelations. This magnificent P-39 aircraft has rested at the bottom of Lake Makaver in Russia's Arctic region since the summer of 2004. It was discovered by a local who spotted the outline of the car through the crystal clear water. P-39 lies at the bottom of a shallow lake, at a depth of 5 meters, covered and buried in fine silt up to the top of the rotor blades. Taking advantage of favorable weather, the rescue team used airbags, tripods, and a truck bed to bring the P-39 ashore. However, the concerning thing when P-39 appeared was that both cockpit doors remained tightly shut. Typically, in the event of an emergency landing on water, one or both floats will be deployed to assist in the rapid evacuation of passengers. But with this particular P-39, it's completely the opposite. And accordingly, the pilot still could not escape the cockpit of the P-39 aircraft. His remains still lie in the layer of mud at the bottom of the lake. After 60 years of being secretly buried, this pilot was given a solemn burial on October 6, 2004. With a full array of military honors, the Valley of Glory Memorial is located nearby Exa Valley, in the Moman Northwest region. P-39 has been significantly drilled and separated, only missing the inner meter on the right side. As is often seen in components produced by MOJ, the wheel axle and engine camshaft housing have deteriorated and become damaged over time. Additionally, another interesting finding was that the 0.5-inch caliber machine gun on the aircraft's wing had been removed. There was nothing inherently strange about that, except it was happening in the ammunition tray area. The research team discovered 6 cans of American-made stewed meat along with several reserve bullets. The cans contain delicious, flavorful cooked pork, pork fat, and onions. The main armament on the aircraft's fuselage has been installed, including an M4 37mm cannon manufactured by Colt Browning. The cannon fires through the engine shaft with 30 rounds. Above it are 2 0.5-inch caliber heavy machine guns, which also fire through the propeller's rotation. Each firearm was also equipped with 200 rounds of ammunition. Most notably, the most significant discovery was in the document case placed at the entrance, which had a very substantial weight. The group found the maintenance logbook for this P-39, although some pages were missing. However, most of it remains readable, nearly all of Russia's information concerning flight times and dates. The service and pilot name are both extracted from this exclusive document itself. Recently, the wreckage of the P-29 bomber, one of the largest combat aircraft models used by the United States during World War II, has been discovered. Hidden beneath a lake for decades, this place holds an air of mystery for many. However, according to recently decrypted documents, this P-29 aircraft was not actually lost in the lake due to an accident. And because the U.S. military intentionally sank it to serve as a training exercise for aircraft crash rescue operations. In winter, when the lake freezes over, people can walk right up to the cockpit of the aircraft and take selfies. Based on decrypted documents, the aircraft's fuselage was discovered to be painted with a large number of logos. This bomber is assigned to the Meteorological Reconnaissance Unit of the U.S. Air Force. It was originally the flying model VKB-29 of the P-29 bomber line, in which only a section of the P-29 bomber was flipped upside down on the water's surface. However, based on the aircraft serial number 44-2214, it was determined to have crashed in 1956. Later, this place was no longer used as a training facility and was subsequently abandoned. Because the water was not deep, only a portion of the aircraft was flipped over and exposed above the surface. Therefore, it has become a fascinating topic of exploration for curious travelers. In spring and summer, the scenery around the airplane, with its clumps of coconut palms and a water pond, creates an utterly mystical landscape. Particularly in recent years, a number of items from the aircraft have been salvaged along with numerous firearms. However, there are still no plans to salvage the entire aircraft. The plane appeared in the sky over Samark. The U.S. Air Force B-24 Liberator bomber, named Lady Be Good, went missing during a bombing mission over Italy on April 4, 1943. This is the first mission for both the aircraft and its crew. The Lady Be Good was also the only ship in the squadron that could not return to its base in Libya. At that time, authorities concluded that the aircraft had crashed into the central Mediterranean Sea. However, an opinion survey was conducted, but no one saw any trace of the Lady Be Good boat. By 1958, an oil exploration team had taken aerial photographs and discovered this aircraft in the Libyan desert. S fuselage were remarkably well preserved due to Samark. Surprisingly, the radio and other equipment on the plane continued to function perfectly normally. However, the search team did not detect any traces of the crew. In 1959, the local authorities once again organized a large-scale search for the entire crew. The search lasted for an entire month but yielded no results, ultimately forcing it to be suspended. And then in 1960, 17 years after the day the plane disappeared, the remains of 8 out of the 9 crew members were found scattered across Samark. Along with that, the authorities also discovered a crucial piece of evidence, the victim Robert Schoner's diary. After the emergency landing, details of the incident gradually came to light. In the accident, 9 people parachuted from the plane, and fortunately, 8 of them survived. The survivors walked about 136 kilometers before 5 people gave up, leaving only 3 to continue until they were exhausted and collapsed. However, the body of the person in charge of the Von on Elmore Impulse Unit has never been found to this day. After 32 years hidden deep within the National Forest, the Piper Cherokee aircraft was finally found. On July 19, 1962, a Piper Cherokee airplane, manufactured in 1959, was. The vehicle was tasked with bringing 4 young people back home from an operation in Fresno, California, but ultimately never reached its destination of Sacramento. Debris from the aircraft is believed to have fallen into the Georgia Mine National Forest area and remained there for 32 years. By 1994, a park ranger had discovered the wreckage of the airplane in a nearly isolated area of the national park. That is Stubblefield Canyon. Based on the information and personal items found, the authorities have confirmed this to be the plane that carried the 4 victims all those years ago. The location where the aircraft debris was found is too remote, forcing the search team to use mules to transport the pieces out. Flight 232 lay undisturbed on the mountain for 26 years. On August 15, 1976, Victor Vyckoff Airlines Flight 232, operating a 785D aircraft, departed from Quito, Ecuador, bound for Cuenca. But during the flight, the air traffic control station lost contact with the aircraft. After numerous searches, there has been no sign of the aircraft or the 55 passengers and 4 crew members found. Many suspect that the aircraft may have crashed on the Chimborazo volcano or was shot down by a Colombian fighter jet. 26 years later, in 2002, the wreckage of this aircraft was finally found. Hundreds of meters of the mountainside at Chumbura Zoo were strewn with corpses lying sprawled. Many believe that it is precisely due to the melting mountain glaciers that these fragments had the opportunity to be exposed and discovered after all these years. For 64 long years, that airplane lay at the bottom of the deep lake. On May 28, 1945, a U.S. Navy SB-2C Helldiver dive bomber, model SB-2C-4, crashed into the lower Otay Reservoir near San Diego. At that moment, pilot Fraser and gunner Joseph Metz were on a mission when the aircraft's engine suddenly failed, causing them and the plane to crash. The two tried to swim frantically to shore, but the Howl driver had already sunk to the bottom of the lake. And in 2009, after 64 years of being mysteriously missing, the plane was accidentally discovered by Dwayne Johnson and Chris Houcher while they were fishing in the area. Shortly thereafter, authorities dispatched a salvage company to recover the aircraft after it had been buried deep underground for decades. Dear friends, missing aircraft incidents are often